Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you love haunted history and cemeteries as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. Today we'll be visiting the Anclote Cemetery in Anclote, Florida. It's just north of Tarpon Springs. Now, being that it is the spooky season, this cemetery is known to be haunted. By whom, you ask? Well, a young woman who's been described as very 80s styled, who claims that a group of guys took her and had their way with her. She cries and sobs and asks for help from innocent bystanders, some of which whom have taken her into their vehicle, and she has told them her story while they were looking for help, and then she tends to vanish. Another, a skunk ape, and a soldier. We're on our way. Enjoy. We've arrived at the Anclote Cemetery, and the cemetery is closed, but if you look at the gate, there's a stump there. You can just walk around it. It looks like they're having some problems with people coming and dumping garbage here, just like at the Spring Hill Cemetery that we've tried to visit numerous times, but it's been closed to the public because people are doing stupid stuff. So hopefully we can get in here, grab a little bit of footage so that you guys can see it. Let's go in and see what we can see. Very similar to the Spring Hill Cemetery, so if you've ever been, it's actually in Brooksville, but they call it the Spring Hill Cemetery. It is a known haunted location, but you have to walk to get to the cemetery. So this seems to be the same way. Very cryptic, lots of trees canopying in a walkway that leads to this very old cemetery that supposedly is haunted. Now I don't know why it's closed, but on the fence over there it says it's closed from September 1st through October 15th. So if you're in the area and you want to come and visit, and I hope we don't get kicked out of here, we just walked around that post, you know. But some dumbasses were coming in here and dumping their garbage, so that's why evidently it's closed. So you walk in about a quarter mile, and here's the cemetery. Very small, very cryptic, and very cool. Wow, it's awesome. So we're gonna go in and check it out. This is probably just a couple of acres. This is really neat. Look at this big headstone here. W.E. Weller, 1859 to 1936. Got a little anchor there at the bottom. And the Freemason logo at the top. You had to walk about a quarter mile to get back here to the cemetery. That's cool too. So cool. This is the kind of cemetery that I like to visit. Now I think over here is the Jack's plot. That's photographed a lot in this cemetery. That one right over there, that's all fenced in. We'll go hit that. But wow, this is a historic cemetery. And I actually have a little bit of a chill up my spine. If you believe it or not, I don't know. It's not a cold day, and there's a chill going right up my spine. I would not lie to you. Spencer's, son of M.S. and S.A. Crosby, died in 1893. November 10th. Now, what I'm unsure of is if anybody else is being laid to rest here, if they're still entering people here. Because they have a lot of problems with keeping it maintained. Evidently, because no one can come in here right now. They're not supposed to. We did anyway. We could probably do the same with Spring Grove, but both times we've been there, we weren't quite, prepared for it. So look at this old headstone here. Amelia. I can just read the first name, Amelia. A lot of the script on the tombstone has been rubbed off. Even the date of death. But you can tell this one's really old. This one here over here has been broken off. John Brady, January 1856 to 1925. So this is an old cemetery. But I like how they tried to keep it all together, obviously. And for a while, this cemetery was overgrown and underkept. And they started developing the area around the cemetery, which led to somebody taking action to kind of clean it up and maintain it. Which is good, because otherwise it's a forgotten cemetery, and that's happened with so many cemeteries that it's devastating. So all these tombstones are facing east, and in other videos I think I've explained that what that means is that in the Bible it claims that when Jesus comes again, he's going to be coming from the east, and that is why they are facing east, is to welcome the coming of Jesus, the second coming of Christ. These are really cool. Gates of heaven up at the top. It says, "In God we trust" at the top. George A. Lang. Here's another Lang, Michael John Lang. And it says December 20th, 1960. It looks like it probably did withstand a lot of weather and deterioration over the years. And, when they decided to come and clean it up, they did so as much as they could. But you can see the fair wear and tear of just not being maintained over the years. In memory of our father and husband. Wow. So awesome. Look at this one. Jessie Lou. These are metal. And they're pounded in with nails. This wording is metal, pounded in with small nails. Amazing. This is awesome. So I'm going to go over here to what looks like the Jack's plot, which is photographed online. And you can kind of read a little bit of that. There it is. Jacks. James R. and Selena E. Jacks. Now it's said that there is a man dressed in Civil War attire that haunts this location. He's said to look like a young Henry Winkler with a thicker, fuller mustache, like from the 1800s. And he doesn't like people visiting his place of rest. I don't know which person it is, if it's James R. or Olin E. Jacks over there, but no disrespect to Mr. Jacks, but that's one of the ghost stories that do resonate from this Anclote Cemetery. If you want to come and check him out, he's right here. His plot is very easy to see. To the right of the entrance, once you walk about a quarter mile and you hit the entrance, there's no bold Anclote Cemetery sign or anything like that. It looks like there's nothing back here. You have to walk down a dirt road for a little while, and then you get here to the site, and it's a diamond in the rough. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful day. It's actually quite breezy and nice. It's not super hot, which is great. I haven't so far seen a lot of real new headstones. Looks like these might be. That'll let me know if they're entering. Anyone's still here. This one's really overgrown. It's the Lang. There's a Lang and a Rasmussen. Gibson. I don't know what the meaning of this is. They have it all surrounded with chain link, but all different names. And it's not like they're babies. This one was born in 1938, passed in 1993. Just marked by a simple metal pick that goes into the ground. You know. So that's different. Scheringer. So this is a plot. Scheringer, if I'm saying that right. This is a plot that was purchased and neither one of them have passed yet. One was born November 1949, one July 12, 1945. So, evidently, they are still entering here. If you want a really private resting place, I'm telling you, this is where it's at. Charles and Marion Hazeldine, December 28th, 70, August 14th, 75. There are some very talkative crows around here. Look at this guy up in the tree there. Oh, now he stops. Cool. How cool is this for a resting place? It's just, they must have liked boating or the beach or the water. But it's just like, you know, you see the 3 stumps with the pelican always sitting on the top. It's got some coral, a buoy. Sheets is the name. Sheetz. Wow, that's kind of cool. It's very Margaritaville. You see here on the tombstone of this loved one, there are shells left up top. You'll see that a lot in Tarpon Springs because it is kind of like, you know, you got the sponge docks. It's very waterfront type of place. So you'll see a lot of shells when you go to Tarpon Springs. But loved ones have left those instead of flowers for when they come to visit. They'll get a shell, maybe from the sponge docks or maybe from a beach nearby, and they'll place that on the headstone of their loved one to let them know they've been here. It's interesting because some of those laid to rest are all the way up against the sides, the perimeters of the cemetery, and there's all this space in the middle. So they're way up against like where the wooded area would be. So far that, you know, it's just the headstone and then you're running into woods. So it's interesting that someone would want to be buried so far out there. I mean, it's not a big cemetery, so it's not that far out there, but I mean, as far as the cemetery, you know, they're far away from everybody else that's buried in the cemetery. And this is another example of that. This is basically neighboring whoever owns the property on the other side. And there's these sunken in, very cryptic headstones. One you can't read. This is an Irving. I can't read the last name and I don't want to step over there. But it's all sunken in. You know, probably just from weather, rain, you know, and just being unkept for so many years. These are all sunken in here. There's a headstone here, facing this way, that you can't read from the other side, but you have to almost step into the weeds to read it because it's so far away from, you know, everybody else in the cemetery. This is the Covert Smith. There's Irving J. And this is an Irving J over here. This is 1881 to 1953, and the one over here is 1889 to 1956. So it's a family plot. It's crazy how they're so far over here, because it's kind of like on the very outskirts of the cemetery. And because of all the trees over here, there's more likeliness of, you know, the ledgers being uprooted by the roots of the trees, you know, and that's what's going on here. It's just fair wear and tear. The trees are getting bigger. There's a big tree right here. The roots of these trees are causing the damage, you know. But if you go out there where there's plenty of space, you probably wouldn't have that. It's a beautiful day here in Anclote. We really enjoyed the cemetery. I hope you did too. Now we're a little famished. Gonna go and get a bite to eat. See you soon. We're here at Miss Vicky's on the river. It's about a minute away from the cemetery. Let's go in and get a bite to eat. thank you so much for joining me again today. I don't think we ran into anything unusual at the cemetery, unfortunately. But just so you know, there is a lot of lore surrounding that cemetery and has been for many years. And it is very cryptic. It's very cool to go and check out. My information does come from this book, Creepy Florida, if you want to check it out for yourself. It talks about the Anclote Cemetery and the haunted lore surrounding the history of the cemetery. That does it for today's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you next time.